Moses Itauma knocked out Mike Balogun in the second round. Easy work. I mean, he's absolutely unbelievable, to be completely honest with you, Moses Itauma. Absolutely unbelievable. I think even though it was only 2 rounds, I do think there's quite a lot to break down on the fight. I think Moses Itauma's angle work is absolutely fantastic. It is unbelievably bloody good. I think he works the body nicely. He's got some very nice lead hand feints, and we all know his power is absolutely devastating and absolutely unbloody believable. I mean, I predicted the round 2 knockout, and that's what happened. I didn't really expect Balogun to offer lows. I feel like Balogun just rushed in so much and just ran in to Itauma's backhand or lead hook. I honestly do think as well that the lead hook might actually be Itauma's best shot. To be honest with you, I feel like, all the work comes off behind the lead hand. He's very, very, very good at setting up his moments while behind the lead hand, measuring you well. He's a master at managing the distance. I feel like that's something that he doesn't get given enough credit for. He's got unbelievable boxing IQ, and he's only 20. He's only going to start on, keeping that going and keep on getting bloody better. He could be one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. He could be. But I think, there are interesting questions to talk about. I feel like when he does get backed up, there's questions to be answered. I feel like Balogun was rushing in a lot tonight. And I feel like at times when someone does pressure Itauma, like Balogun did kind of do at times, but he rushed in with it. Itauma kind of does panic a little bit when he's pushed onto the ropes on the back foot. That's the one thing. Other than that, I mean, offensively, the guy's unreal. Defensively, Itauma hasn't really fully been tested just yet. Not really at all, if we're being honest. He hasn't really been tested defensively. But from what we all know about him, his power is unreal. And when you're up against someone who times you as well as Itauma does, and has the power that he does, and you're in bloody big trouble, to be honest with you. So, he's dangerous. He's a very, very, very bloody dangerous man, if we're being completely honest with you. And if he's able to time you, like he's done with everyone, then you're in bloody big trouble, to be honest with you. I mean, that fight, I think it was that second knockdown I really did like, to be honest. I mean, it was brutal to start off the round. And then, that final knockout as well, that lead to that he just caught Balogun running right onto. I mean, look, I do want to see Itauma be tested a bit more, though, before we do 100% judge him. But I think what we do know is that the guy is the biggest and best prospect in boxing right now. Of course he is. Of course he is. He's going to be the undisputed world champ. One day, he 100% will be. People saying that he's ready to go in there with the big boys now, I think you're wrong on that. I feel like right now, there's no point rushing him. I do think Frank Warren has done the right thing with him so far. I do want to see him up the level a little bit, though, but people talking about a Martin Bakole fight, I honestly don't think that's the greatest of ideas right now. I don't think a Martin Bakole fight is the right way to go. I still need to see what Itauma is like when someone is really fully coming back at him to judge if he is able to withstand someone like Martin Bakole, who's a real bloody good pressure fighter. But what we do know about Itauma is that he is class at working angles. And I feel like that is something that will be able to get him out of trouble. And I feel like he does initiate the clinch when he does have to. And that's what happened in the Balogun fight when Balogun was rushing. And I do feel like Itauma was able to force the clinch at the right time. But I still, I do question him on the back foot, though. I do. And we're going to have to wait and see for future opponents to see when that will happen. But I feel like before you go up against someone like Martin Bakole, who is guaranteed to stick you on that back foot and try and put you on the ropes, I think, he needs to go elsewhere first, in my opinion. I think I would not mind see Itauma going in there with someone like Gaziev, though. I mean, because it's a good step. It is a good step, I think. Someone like Gaziev, I think, would make sense. And, Gaziev's been in there with top names. We know for a fact he's going to be able to withstand Itauma a bit, and he's going to be a bit difficult for Itauma to figure out. So I feel like that should be the fight. He also knocked out Balogun in the second round. Run it with those two. That's what I think they should do. I feel like that's the kind of level Itauma's around right now, the Marut Gaziev kind of level. You don't want to stick him in there with someone like Martin Bakole. People saying that, in 2 years' time, he can beat Alexander Usyk. No, not yet. Not yet. I mean, I'm 100% sold on Moser Itauma, as I've been saying. I'm just trying to be completely honest here, and I don't really fully want to rush things, because as much as I believe Moser Itauma is going to be undisputed champ, he's not at that level yet. He's not. And let's be brutally honest here. He wouldn't beat Alexander Usyk. He'd get stopped early against Usyk right now. I don't think he's on the level of Daniel Dubois. Like people are saying, like that he's above the level that he's actually at. Let's just enjoy him for now, fighting the guys who he's fighting. Stick him in there with Gaziev next, then possibly someone else around that level, depending on how he does. And then you can try and stick him in there with someone like Martin Bakole. He's still got, at least in my opinion, 5 fights, at least. 5-6 fights before a world title fight, if anything. I feel like that is what should happen, in my opinion. I don't know if I'm not wanting to rush it too much, so I'm trying to keep it I don't know. I'm just trying to keep it realistic, if I'm being completely honest. And I feel like Itauma, with the guy that, is the top of the heavyweight division right now, the kind of level that it is all at, I feel like I wouldn't really want to push Moser Itauma into that deep end just yet. But that's my opinion on that. That's my opinion. I think, with Mike Balogun tonight, it's someone who, it was someone where, he was in there with someone like Marut Gaziev, and that was his only defeat. So I do kind of get the matchmaking. He was in there with, a top guy who's been in there with someone like Alexander Usyk and, destroyed Balogun. But I think, because obviously Gaziev was in there with Balogun. He was in there with Usyk. So that's why they gave him Balogun. But in my opinion, I called it from the off. This wasn't a great fight. And Itauma did exactly what he had to do. Balogun's nothing amazing special. I don't think the win tells us enough about Moser Itauma, in my opinion. I mean, as I've been saying, I think Moser Itauma's class. He's a future world undisputed champion. But right now, that win over Balogun doesn't fully tell us enough of what level is Moser Itauma actually at. Is he really on the level of someone like Martin Bakole? Is it really smart to stick him in there with him in July? Is that really the smart option? I mean, it's not looking great for Bakole right now whatsoever. He's been looking shocking recently and doesn't look like he really cares. But right now, that would be a difficult fight for Moser Itauma, if we're being completely honest, and could be a bad match and could, set him back a little bit. And at 20 years old, ideally, you don't really want a setback like this, when he's on a roll right now, because it could be a confidence killer. So I feel like people are getting a little bit too ahead of themselves and need to try and keep a level head when talking about Moser Itauma and what's really going to be next, because that went over Balogun. We saw Moser Itauma's class. We see what he can do, but what level's he at? We don't know. So don't say he's world level just because he's knocked out Mike Balogun. That doesn't mean it. He's not world level yet. That's the thing. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I'll speak to you all in the next one.